Hi, this is Rich Defazed, coming at you from my studio in Cornwall in the UK, and what I'd like to show you in this course is a basic overview of Xfer Records Serum. Now, I'm currently working on a full-length course, roughly 3 hours long, in which I'm going to be showing you all of the functions, all of the features of Serum in much more depth. The purpose of this course is just to give you a brief overview and give you an idea of what you can do with this synth. Okay, so I'll start off by just showing you the Serum website. Okay, the Xfer Records website, they've got a page here for Serum, and the first thing you'll see is it's an advanced wavetable synthesizer. Okay, now I'll go into much more detail about what a wavetable synthesizer is as we progress on the main course. Second thing you'll see is it's very reasonably priced at only $189 US. So incredibly high quality sound, you can import your own samples, modulation's incredibly easy, and loads of other features which I think make it one of the best synthesizers on the market today. Okay, so what I want to do really is just go through the basics of Serum just by creating a couple of sounds for you here. So I've got Ableton Live open here, and I'm just going to go down my audio units list or VST list and double click on Serum to bring that onto my first MIDI track. Okay, and if I play a few notes on my keyboard, you can hear we just start with a basic sawtooth wave. Before I start making my own sound, I will just show you some of the presets in here, and as you can see we've got probably a few hundred presets that just come with it. Okay, so starting with basses. Skip through a few of those. Leads. So there's loads and loads of high quality presets that come with it. And it's a very, very visual synth. I mean, as you can see, as I'm playing the notes, you can see there's a lot of movement going on. You know, the progress through the envelopes, the different LFOs, and the movement on the filters. Next, I'm going to initialize preset. I think I'll start by just creating a simple bass patch, okay? I'll start with Oscillator A, and as you can see, like I said, we've just got the sawtooth at the moment. I want to go for something a bit more interesting, so maybe I'll go for something like a BS2 acid, or just acid. It's kind of like a 303 kind of sound. Okay, and that's just playing one window of the wavetable at the moment. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If I switch the oscillator view into 3D view, you can see the full wavetable laid out there. And if I move the wavetable position control, it clearly shows how wavetable synthesis works. Okay, so if I hold down a key and move the wavetable position, you can see how it's scanning through those different windows in the wavetable. And if I go to edit the wavetable, you can see these individual windows here. And what this wavetable appears to be based on is basically just a sample of a 303 or something similar to a Roland TB 303, and it's just one note being held down with a filter sweep probably being triggered by an envelope or an LFO. And we can easily recreate that here by dragging LFO1 to the wavetable position and just pressing the key. And we can tweak the LFO slightly if we want it to just ramp up. Tune it down a bit maybe. Okay, and we got that classic 303 sound. I'll just put the level up a bit. As you can see, it's very, very easy to tweak and draw the envelopes. I generally set it to trigger when I'm creating a short sound, like a bass sound, because what trigger does is it triggers the LFO when the note is triggered itself. Okay, so that's a basic kind of 303 sound. Now there's some really interesting ones in here. If we look in Spectral, we've got all of these different ones, like bowed metal, for example. It's really interesting, almost vocal kind of sound. Possibly choose a different section of the wavetable though. Something that isn't quite so bright. That electric guitar wavetable could be quite a good one to use. Now, we also have unison voicing, and I'm sure you probably know about unison voicing by now if you've worked with a few synths. It's a really good way of fattening up the sound, and it basically just creates multiples of the same sound and detunes them slightly, and also pans them slightly to the left and right. So immediately, just with two unison voices, we get a much fatter sound. If we put it up to 7, we get a really fat sound. Now, what I usually do at this stage is probably tweak the envelope slightly, and envelope 1 is hardwired to the amplitude in this synth. So for a kind of stabby bass sound, I would generally go for something like this, like a fairly short decay. And as you can see, you can either draw the envelope shape in here, which is really intuitive, or you can just do the classic controls as you find on most synthesizers. Okay, the next thing I'll do is just to add a bit more weight to it, because it sounds a bit thin at the moment, I'm going to switch on the Sub Oscillator and tune that down. That's basically given us two oscillators, one of them being based on a wavetable with an electric guitar, and the other one is the sub bass, which is just a sine wave, but we can change that to various different waveforms if we want. I'll just stick with the sine for now though. So next thing I'll do is look at the filter section, and there are loads of filters in here. We've got a range of sort of Moog emulation low pass filters. We've got standard low pass, high pass, band, peak and notch. Then we've got multi filters, which are really interesting because they combine low pass, high pass, band, peak and notch. Then we've got the flange filter section, which is a selection of kind of moving time-based filters like combs, flanges, phasers. And then in miscellaneous, we've got a bunch of other stuff, including formants, which you can do some interesting kind of vocal sort of stuff with those. Okay, so I'll just switch this filter on. And I usually turn up the fat control a bit, add a bit of drive. It's a really nice warm sounding filter. I might even put it to 24 dB slope. And I'm also going to turn up the sustain a little bit, just so that we can keep the note going on the main envelope. And then the next thing that I want to do is apply an envelope to the cutoff on the filter. And we could either have it fading in and then back out, or we could go for something more like that, which was my intention. Okay, so that sounds quite nice. And just find the right kind of balance on the filter there. Okay, that's quite a nice sound. Maybe put a bit of release on it. And then we could possibly bring in another oscillator, maybe just like a basic shape. As you can see, basic shapes just has your standard sine, ramp down, triangle, square, different pulse width modulation waves. So we could choose one of those to layer up with it. Remember to feed that through the filter as well, okay, so. really I just want that to be quite subtle, just to add a little bit of extra top end. Okay, so that's basically a simple bass sound. Now, just to finish it off, I'm going to add a few effects. And again, in the full course, I'll go into all of these effects in great detail. But for now, I'm just going to add a little bit of compression, just to get a max, just to get the best kind of level out of it as I can, without clipping at the master, obviously. And then I might just add a very small amount of reverb, just to give it a bit of space. And when on a bass sound, I generally put the low cut up so we don't make it muddy. Okay, so what I'll be doing in the full course on Serum is gradually, in each module, going through and creating a range of different patches, showing how you can create bass patches, lead patches, other kind of plucky synths and other types of lead sounds, pads, and then some more kind of interesting modulated kind of sounds and the really advanced stuff that this synth is really, really good for. I'll also be showing you how to import your own samples into the oscillators so that you can build your own wavetables from those. Okay, so that's it for this preview module, and I hope you found it interesting, and I hope to see you on the full course, which will be available soon on Producertech. Okay, cheers, bye.